thing that sort of tipped me over the edge was the Horizon scandal in the United Kingdom, which I've mentioned a few times now in different videos. So the Horizon scandal was the post office, or if you're in America or whatever, the postal service, provided software to what's called postmasters. So people will run the post, or the branches of post offices. So it's like a franchise. So they run like a shop, and then they've got the postal part inside the shop. Okay. And to manage the postal service they were providing, basically the financials, they had a piece of software called Horizon. And the Horizon software is made by Fujitsu, and it's proprietary software. So nothing, so extraordinary here in the sense of that, because the business world is full of proprietary software. However, this software was so bad that effectively it made up its figures half the time. Basically, it would its accounting part of it was terrible, didn't work properly. And what would happen is, at the end of the day, some people would their balance of what they owed the post office would be thousands of pounds more than what they took from customers. And what the post office said was basically, Horizon software is infallible. This is what you owe us. And at the end of every day, if you signed off the final balance, you agreed to that final balance. Now, you and I might think, well, that's crazy. Why would you do that? But you've got to understand that this is people's livelihood, and they were hugely dependent on the post office, and they didn't want to upset them. And what would happen is they would phone up Horizon. They had like a phone number if something wasn't right. And the people at Horizon effectively said, it's a bug. It will all work out. Just agree to it. And so they thought these people had their back. What actually happened was that they signed away their lives effectively by doing this, because the post office, believe this or not, in the United Kingdom has the ability to prosecute people. And I don't know what it's like in other countries, but the post office is owned by the UK government. And the UK government gave the post office the ability to generate prosecutions. So you'd assume that the only people who could generate prosecutions are the CPS. Even the police can't prosecute people. Did you know that? So United Kingdom, the police have to use something called the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service, to prosecute people. The post office don't have to go to the Crown Prosecution Service. They can prosecute people themselves. So they can get people to go to court and say that these people haven't paid their bills. And with the post office, it's not like not paying your customers or not paying, say, the electricity to some private company. You're effectively not paying the UK government. And that means they can put you in prison. And the courts did exactly that. The courts put people in prison because they didn't pay their post office bill, their bills, okay? Because Horizon Software was saying that they agreed to the final tally every day, and they owe hundreds of thousands of pounds or something. And people killed themselves over this. So basically, proprietary software kills people. Except the only thing I'd say is the real criminals in this were the courts, which curiously nobody has really mentioned. One of the most extraordinary things about this whole episode is that the only people who can actually put you in prison are the courts, not even the post office. They can take you to court, but they can't put you in prison. And the courts took the non-evidence. There wasn't even evidence presented. I'm not making this up. Horizon, the post office said Horizon was infallible, meaning that it works. And because we say it works, that is our evidence. And the court put people in prison because of that statement. And the argument for this was that there is a law or that in theory, there's law that says that machines are infallible. So the output of machines is the truth. The problem with that interpretation is that computers are not actually machines, okay? The hardware is the machine, the physical machine, but it basically has no moving parts, okay? The actual computation is done through software over hardware, okay? Meaning that the software is not the machine, and the machine can't operate without the software. So the evidence provided would be the software, but also because the software was proprietary, and Fujitsu effectively said, you're not allowed to see the software, but hey, we say, you're not allowed to see the software. We're telling you the software is going to put you in jail. The court said, okay, basically fine. Absolutely crazy, but that is the state of computing in this country and in the world, really. So that is also why I've made a sort of stand. I know it's like an empty bag of threats, but this is why I've made this stand. Also, I want people to have come to the conclusion, this sort of goes back to the Free Software Foundation, that this is like your insurance policy. The real criminals here are actually the courts. But if you need an insurance policy, use free software. It's as simple as that. Now, I know what I said, you've got to do what's right for you. I have to use proprietary software. But I want to create that principle that really the only guarantor of such, the only insurance policy you've got, especially in the crazy computing dystopia that we're moving into, is run only free software.